Hi, this is Em. I hope that this has started. I can't see my timeline on here. Anyway, we'll pretend it's started. Yesterday I did a quick video about pressing roses using a heat press that most people use for t-shirts. And here's one that I did, and this is now dry, and I used the heat press. Here's a echo, I'm going to call it echo steam, that I did using a Cosmos and the heat press. And then here's something really interesting. How did I get this daylily to print orange? And that really surprised me. So yesterday I talked quickly about the daylily, but I wanted to show you today what I was talking about, that this, when you press it under heat at about 200, 250, actually turns purple. And that's how I got that effect. I'm going to start a little playlist called Heat Press and Flowers, so if that's something you're interested in, look for it, because I've got a couple of ideas that I want to do, and I think a playlist would be the best way to organize it. And so this is going to be a real short video just talking about heat presses in general, just kind of some knowledge imparting of things that I've learned about it. As I mentioned in my rose video yesterday, I purchased this heat press, and this is Fancier brand about 10-15 years ago. I got it from Pro World, and at that time there weren't a lot of inexpensive heat presses around because I was looking for an inexpensive heat press, because really I just wanted to do some personal t-shirts and some little projects. I didn't want to have a t-shirt business, so I didn't want to invest a lot of money in one. And then, as I indicated, I had moved and put it in storage, and then there it sat, and I never did anything with it until a couple of weeks ago I pulled it out because some of the shirts I had are all tattered now, and I thought, you know, I need to do something with these shirts and these transfers that I bought at the same time that I bought the machine. And so I did. I did some t-shirts. They worked out fine. Actually, for me, they're the sleeveless tank tops. And so I thought, you know, what else can I do with this thing? So I started playing around and thinking about what can I do with pressed flowers. So to stick with the topic for today, but just to give the little teaser about maybe stay tuned for some more flower activity with the heat press, I just wanted to talk about heat presses in general. This one's on right now, and it's called a clam shell because it clams up and down. You push down on the handle and it locks it closed. Right now it's on, and you see from the display it says 231. And the way that you set it is you press the temp, and then you move it up or down, and then you press temp again and it sets it. Then there's a timer, and to set the timer you press time and then up. I'm going to go ahead and take it up to 60 for a minute, and then press time again and it sets the time. If there were any instructions that came with it, I don't know where they went. And then after it counts down the amount of time that you set it for, it's going to beep at you. So we'll go ahead and hear the beep here real quick, since it's only a couple seconds left. Yeah, so it came factory default at 10 seconds, and I use it for longer than that, so I set it now to a minute because I can count myself how long I want it down, and usually it's about 25-30 seconds. Over on this other side is a Celsius to Fahrenheit calculation. This only appears, oh no, there's a Celsius. I don't know how you change it to Celsius. There must be some settings for it, but I haven't figured it out, and it's on Fahrenheit, which is what I use. So there is a way to set it to Celsius, but don't ask me how. That's something that you'd have to research if you have one or if you buy one. There's another kind of a heat press, and it's called the swing arm, where instead of this clamshelling down, it swings around out of the way. Now, some of the things I read about the advantage of a swing arm is that you can swing the arm out of the way when you're working on the mat surface so that you don't burn yourself, which is a valid point. However, in the days that I've been using this, and I do a lot of activity with my hands on here, and if you watched me yesterday, you see where I use this kind of as a table surface, and I've yet to burn my hands. So just be aware that it is very hot, and you can burn yourself, but I haven't personally had any issues with the clamshell, and it's perfectly adequate for what I'm doing, and I do a lot on the surface here. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Okay, so there's the different kinds, and basically the clamshell and the swing arm. There's a number of kits out there I see nowadays where you can buy the unit, and then and then it also has a plug-in where you can plug in the mug attachment and the hat attachment if you're in doing subliminal transfers onto mugs and doing transfers on hats and that type of thing. Of course, that was way out of my budget back then, so I just got the simple generic one. The three places that I researched to buy them at was the Amazon and Walmart seem to have the most inexpensive ones available. I'm going to put some visuals on here while I'm talking because I'm just doing a lot of verbiage. These are some echo printing things. Anyway, Amazon and Walmart had the most inexpensive ones. The more expensive ones, and when I say more expensive, I'm talking about the $200 range and up, was Pro World, and what was the other one I looked up? Heat Press Nation. All of the four sites that I just mentioned had heat presses with reviews, so be sure to read the reviews because people have a lot of different opinions. Some of them don't seem to be very good quality, and it goes without saying that, in my opinion, if you buy the super inexpensive ones, you're not going to get as good of a quality as a machine. This particular machine nowadays, this is a 15 by 15 platen. I think you could probably get it for the mid 150s, more or less, maybe closer to 200, but probably the mid 150s if you shop around. There's a lot of 10 by 12s and 9 by 12s out there for less expensive. The thing I talked about yesterday, but I'm going to go over it again today since we're specifically talking about heat presses, is the platen's not uniform. This is 238 in the front upper right. In the back, it's 217. Then the left-hand side back is, excuse me, I bumped the camera, 210. And then the front is 235. So there's a real range of temperatures between the front and the back, which is another complaint that I saw from a lot of people about these inexpensive heat presses. Again, for the price that you can get heat presses nowadays, I don't really have a problem with it. You're not gonna get $1,000 heat press and all of the reliability and features for $100 or $150. I just don't see how it's going to happen. So you'll need to decide if you want to live with some issues like the heat inconsistencies and that type of thing or not. And of course your budget's going to factor into that. The surface, this mat here, I'm not sure, it's a rubber mat. It's probably about a 1/4 inch thick, and it has a little bit of give to it. And it's I don't know, some sort of silicone rubber or something. And it comes with that. It's glued down, but I do notice that Amazon had replacement mats. So if you do funk this up, there are replacement mats available. Now, what I did is the first thing I did when I started using this about a couple weeks ago is I bought some Teflon mats for putting the flowers on because I knew I was going to make a mess out of the surface. And I bought these 14 by 14 Teflon mats. They were being sold for cooking, mostly in the cooking section. And I got a let's see, what did I get? I got a 9-pack of these 14 by 14s for $5. And I don't know, I think that's really super reasonable. And you can do not just pressing on them, but you can paint with them. All those mats that you see that people put their paint on when they're doing their crafts and stuff like that, they're using Teflon mats. Well, here's a real inexpensive way to get your Teflon mats. Didn't take long when I was doing the echo steam printing, which I want to do a video about that I didn't get to yesterday, to have this water and steam start spewing out all over the sides of the press, and got the plate all mucked up and got the pad all mucked up. Well, fortunately, this is kind of an anti-stick surface, so it was really easy to clean. And this was easy to clean, but I didn't like the idea of all the stuff going on to the press parts, and this mat wasn't big enough. Then I went back and I got these guys. Now I've cut these down. They were bigger. They're 16 inches wide, so that's how wide it came. 16 inches wide by 24 inches long. So I didn't need a full 24 inches. This is probably maybe 18 inches wide here on the sides. But it's enough to cover the whole plate and give me a little extra, so that when steam is rolling off the flowers when I'm echo steaming them, it will go away from the press. And then I've got paper down here, and I've got paper down on the floor over here to catch any dripping. And then, of course, there might be some drips that come on the table, and this is a wood table, so I just wipe it. And then in the back, there's this press is sitting up on some wood, and then there's some metal back here, but again, it would be easy to clean, so I'm not really worried about it. When I'm pressing things with the flowers, I have another mat, same size, so that I can put my items in between when I'm pressing. I can put my items in between. Here's a piece of paper I had left over from that rose that I was pressing yesterday. So I can sandwich my stuff in between the paper, and then I can press it down and not worry about getting anything messed up on the press. And I think that's about it. They're real inexpensive. There's a couple different types. Check out the reviews. Be willing to live with a few anomalies with these lower end presses. I noticed some people were talking about they didn't come with instructions, so just be prepared to figure it out or see if someone else has figured it out. And you can see how kind of pretty the rose left this little image. So if you're into doing crafts and other things, save your backgrounds, and you can cut them out and use them for other projects. So stay tuned. Hopefully I will get to some other ideas. Another thing I did is I made some bookmarks that I wanna test this and see if you watch my laminating flowers video, protecting flowers with laminating and stuff like that, you'll see where I have a hot laminate machine where I was running the laminate through the hot laminate machine for the bookmarks, and I also did some testing with a regular iron, which worked. And then now I want to test this and see if it works. So I'm ready to do that test, so we'll take a look at that here coming up too. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.